Hi and welcome to yet another episode. It's still my Amiga 1200 in bits. I know, need to close it all up and make sure it works properly. But what I do want to do is show you some of the big box games that I have. It was recommended, or at least they said they would like to see it, is the big box games I have for the Amiga. A guy called Woody that is out and about on the internet, and a couple of guys over at Pintz Amiga said that they would like to have a look at the big box games that I have. I'll put a link to their site, their channel down below. They do some wonderful streams on a Saturday night. Most of the time it's Amiga, but every now and again they do play Dreamcast games, and it's not just for like an hour, they play for like 5 or 6 hours while consuming, let's put a fair bit of drink that would put a fair few people under the table, but these guys somehow still end up playing computer games late in the night. At least it is for here in the UK and the EU, but they're actually in Texas, America. But yeah, by the end of it, they've had a fair few, but they're still quite responsive at getting the games done. It can be great fun to watch, great sense of humour for the both of them, and they've also helped promote my channel, so I want to help promote theirs as well. Now let's have a look at the back here. We've got Star Trek, the 25th anniversary. Now Woody does like Star Trek, and Pintz Amiga they played this game the other week. So let's look at the graphics on the back. This version is the Amiga 200 version, Amiga 12,000 version, or stroke 4000 version, so you need the AGA chip in your Amiga. So these are the graphics that are on there. I believe that they're actually the true Amiga ones, but they could be the PC version from back in the day, because let's be honest, it was just 256 colours. But there we go for that. On the front, of course, you've got Kirk, McCoy and Spock. It points out you need a whopping 2 megabytes of RAM, which meant you had to have that much to get it going, and it also says you need 9 megabytes of hard disk space. So that must be hinting there's a fair few discs in here. Now all these big box games that you will see bit by bit over the coming week, because what I'll do is a fair few boxes every day. I'm not so sure I'll get through them all through that week, but I do want to do that. There's a fair few being shown. So we've got disc number 1 all the way through to disc number 8. So yeah, there's a fair bit of data to be worried about. Just balance this on my lap. There's the registration card, as always. I never really know what we're supposed to do with the registration card back in the day. Did anyone actually send them off? Did you get like badges sent back to you, or did you really only register because it turned out, disc 7 didn't work or something like that? Not just for this game, but any of the Amiga games, or any system really. I never actually sent anything off. I bet Pintz Amiga wish that they had this manual when they were playing it the other week. Seems to have come in handy, telling you what you got to do. So it's a point and click game. There's no actual voice in this version. We wouldn't expect that from 8 floppies. But yeah, so that's what you get for that game. Sadly the box has had a cup of tea poured over it, or it's just picked up moisture from somewhere. But I don't know if you can see there, or you can move the light around a bit. It just says Interplay. But I've actually played this game all the way through on the PC back in the day. Can't remember what you're supposed to do now, but it was an enjoyable game to complete as far as I remember. Just a bit of a shuffling around. And then we've got this one, a game I've never actually played, but I've heard a lot of people say great things about it, especially when it first came out. So UFO Enemy Unknown. Command the Earth's forces against the alien terror. So let's look at the graphics on the back. This one's a special version for the Amiga 1200 and I said 12,000 for the one before, didn't I? 1200 of course, A4000. I'm muddling my words again. And this has obviously got 256 colours. And yeah, it seems to be that, what are these type of games called? You roleplay, or whatever, that you've got to point and click, not an adventure way, but you've got to decide, right, I'm going to move my men so and so distance and make them shoot. I was never really big into these games, hence why I'm not too sure what the first style of gaming is. I know you'll be shouting at your screen going, you idiot, of course it's blah blah blah. Well, tell me in the comments below. It's always good to learn. If you know something better than me, then show me how to do it better than me. I'm willing to learn. Well, here we go, plastic bag jobby. I'm never really too sure if these actually came in the boxes or people do this later. So what we got? We have Galactic Xmas Remix. I don't think that's part of it. Is there anything on there? Oh, it's scribbled in there, UFO boot disc. I'm not too sure if I've already said all these games are second hand to me. So it's what everyone else has done. I wonder if it was just because that particular disc you had to use a lot and they had to make sure that they weren't going to wear it out. So the game itself though has 4 discs, at least there is only 4 discs. And again, technical supplement for the Commodore Amiga 1200. Again, you need 2 megs of RAM, blah 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 blah, disk drives, copying it to the hard drive. Copy protection has no disk copy protection. This means that you can copy the game files onto blank disks and install it. Blah blah blah. So, a bit updates and enhancements for the Amiga version of the UFO Unknown. Oh, maybe there was extra bits then for the Amiga version. That's the enhancements at least. And then we have a look at the manual, which has seen better days. So yeah, it's a nice glossy manual, all in black and white though to save on printing costs, especially back in the day. I'm sure if it was redone nowadays it'd all be in glorious colour. But there seems to be a bit of definitely getting your head round on what you're supposed to do. It's not sort of sit down and start clicking and you'll be fine. So maybe one day I'll play that. I seem to remember when I was at university my housemate used to play it on the PC. And he was locked in his room for hours at end killing the aliens. Sorry for the rustle. When I get these back in the plastic bag. Because as I can see from the Star Trek game of where dampness gets in, it's a good way of protecting the discs. Well, one thing I want to mention now, if you've got this far into watching the video, you'll know the secret of I'm going to be changing the way that the channel is done. I'm actually going to be rebranding, so keep that under your hat for now, but that's just for the people that have actually bothered to watch it this far through. Right, so we've got Rules of Engagement 2. Strategic Starship Combat at its very best, and it's for the Amiga 500 and up. So the back of the box, so Rules of Engagement 2, you are the fleet commander of Federation World Armed Forces, or the FWAF. FWAF. Try saying that when you've had a drunk. Right, it mentions that you need AdLib, Sound Blaster and compatible sound cards. I think this might be just a generic back of the box for the PC, and it's the IBM PC screenshots anyway, so it's not going to look as good as this on the Amiga. Also, it says there 256 colours for the IBM PC, and 3D rendered chips if you had it, which would have been a big thing back in the day. So let's just rest that there. It comes on a whopping 4 discs. And then registration cards, I'm not bothered showing you those, but a few manuals, a training manual, a fleet operations manual, and a builder manual, because that was one thing that I forgot to mention on the back of the box. It does say that you can build your scenarios and, you know, make your friends and family play them instead. So it's a never-ending game, I suppose, because if you can carry on building, then you can carry on playing. though if you know what you're supposed to be doing in your own game, I don't see how you would find it too much difficult. But anyway, training manual, I've just said, but an awful lot to be reading by today's standards, pointing you this, that and the other way. The spaceships do look sneakily familiar, let's put it that way. But, yep, that's a good one. And the fleet operations manual, there's some weight to this. Dear me, look at all these numbers you got to worry about. So messing around with your fleet, oh dear me. It's definitely, I'm amazed on how the games used to be, of where it wasn't sit down, start playing. It was, right, take the manual before you even put the disc inside the computer and start reading, because if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere. Whereas today's standards, it tells you in the first level of press this button, it'll jump that way and spin around that way and kill the enemy that way. So yeah, an awful lot to that as well. So that's definitely the sort of one of where you're supposed to put many hours into it. I'm not knocking these sort of games. Obviously I own it now, but back in the day I wasn't interested in these sort of games. I don't know if it was ignorance to these sort of games, immaturity at the time of having the Amiga, or it was just, quite frankly, I had enough on doing my homework. And then for today's last game is this one. Another World, one of my favourite games. I played this on the Atari ST in a shop when it first came out, and I thought, I want to play that. But didn't even have an Amiga at the time, didn't have an ST. And it's a real shame that the second part never hit Europe. For some reason it was only on, what was it, the Sega CD. It's a shame. But that second version though has been ported to the Amiga, so go look it up, because that's a good game as well, if you can get it working on your Amiga. The graphics on the back, so there we go. Looks just exactly the same way as I remember it. This came out in 1991. I've played this all the way through. I've played the second one all the way through. So, code wheel, so no naughty piracy. And, oops, it comes on 2 discs. I'm trying to balance everything here. There's discs A and B, and it will cost a whopping £25.99. And if I'm right about the way that the style that logo is, this was bought from W.H. Smith's. For the people that know UK labelling on stickers, I think that's W.H. Smith's from back in the day. In fact it is, I can see it says WMS, which is W.H. Smith's. Oh, I really need to get out more of the fact that I'm recognising the logo of, oh dear. Anyway, Another World, tiny little manual, because really with this game it pretty much is stick it in, figure out how to do up, down, left, right, and run and kick and scream and all that sort of stuff. There's a little bit of a story, and then boom, that's it, straight into the game, and then it's in a different language. So this manual isn't really much to it. Is that help numbers? Yep. If you get stuck, you could phone them up at ridiculously daft prices and say, help me, I can't finish the game. And then they would just sit there laughing at you because they were charging you a whopping 48 pence per minute. And that's back in 1981. Not 81, sorry, 1991. Dear me. Out of like 1991, how old was I? Yep, I was that age. I would have roughly got, I don't know, maybe 6 minutes worth of 7 minutes worth of talkie time, just using my pocket money up. Don't think my dad would have let me even dial it in the first place, quite frankly. Anyway, so that's these 4. So if there's any out of those 4 you're interested in, keep a note, because I am going to be making videos not over the weekend because I'm busy, but well, time you watch this it probably is the weekend, but from Monday I'll probably make a little video every day showing you sometimes I might show 3, sometimes I might show 4, you know, you get the idea. But let me know which ones you want to watch in full length, actually playing the games for not this coming week but the week after that. But until then, as always, happy gaming.